Would it be fair to say that as his physical therapist, you are concerned with gross and fine motor skills in the course of your practice? I mostly focus on gross motor skills. I don't really do handwriting or other skills. Activities of daily living? Yes. That would be basically handled by the occupational therapist? Yes. By the way, have you spoken to any of the other employees who have come in here to testify about the testimony they gave on trial? No. Have you spoken to any of them about being here? Yes. Did they tell you the types of questions they were asked or anything like that? No. Did you ask them about that? No. You did not ask them about anything about that? No, I did not. Let me ask you this. By the way, have we met before? Yes. A half hour out at Schneider's? About a half hour. And as part of your treatment as a physical therapist, do you do a physical assessment of Matt? I do what's called an annual update. I picked up Matt in the summer, and when his meeting for the following year comes up, we're required to do an annual report basically outlining overall his skills and where he stands now. Now, as a physical therapist, when you are treating a child such as this one, do you have to make certain observations about his body? Yes. Now, what are the observations you made about him with regard to his body, other than that you said that he's cute? He has what's called low muscle tone, and because of that, he has some joint laxity. What do you mean by joint laxity? Joint laxity is where an individual who tends to have low muscle tone, the muscles surrounding the joints aren't protecting the joints as well as they could be, and so the joints move beyond where they should be moving. How do muscles protect the joints? Your muscles attach to bone, and it attaches from the top of one joint and crosses the joint, goes across. Let's say your knee starts here and goes across, and you have a lot of muscles that surround the knee joint, so that the resting tone in those muscles protect the joint from going beyond the point that it should go. Anything else? Withdraw the question. What about the term range of motion? Define it. Are you familiar with that term? I would hope so. Okay, and what is the range of motion? Range of motion is the motion that a joint moves from one joint to another. And how would you describe his range of motion in his joints? For the most part, this patient's range of motion is within normal limits. So everything works normally? Yes. And now everything else with regard to his physical appearance or the physical findings from a physical therapy point of view are what? In terms of what was written in my report? From what you remember, or if you don't recall anything, feel free, just let us know if you refer to your report. Well, as far as physical appearance, Matt is standing up demonstrating a posterior tilt. What is a posterior tilt? That's even when your pelvis tilts downward, and it's just a postural assessment. It's just something that you notice posturally. Is that related to his low muscle tone? Yes. Well, it can be. Let me ask a question. As a physical therapist treating someone like Matt, do you deal with the underlying condition that may cause him to have a tilt, or do you deal with some other? We don't deal with the underlying situation. We deal with what we see now. So when I picked up the boy in the summer, although I didn't have to do an update, I did my own observation, made my own observations and assessments so that I could work however I wanted to choose to treat him. And anything other than the pelvic tilt? He has an increased lordosis. What is that? He just has an excess curvature in his lumbar spine, which is your low back, which can or may cause back problems in the future if it's not resolved. How would that cause back problems? Defendant's counsel objection. The court sustained as to form. How, if at all, would an increased lordosis cause back problems in the future? Defendant's counsel objection. The court, are you objecting on the basis of expertise? Defendant's counsel, on the grounds that this witness is not an orthopedist. The court. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've had some changes in the rules fairly recently, and the Court of Appeals has let us have a certain amount of latitude in determining the nature of the testimony that is permitted from a witness, but we have an obligation as judges to watch carefully to make sure that the testimony that is being presented to you is the kind of testimony that the witness is capable of scientifically providing. Under those circumstances, I'll allow a limited number of questions. And once again, I'm also asking you, ma'am, to be careful not to stray from your area of expertise. You're a physical therapist and not an orthopedist, and the kinds of testimony that you would be giving will be confined to your area. Both experience, and experience is important, as well as education. I understand. Thank you. Please. Okay, now, if at all, how can an increased lordosis lead to back problems in the future? Defendant's counsel, objection. The court, lay a foundation if you can. Plaintiff's counsel, okay, I will try, Your Honor. The court, if you can. Miss Glick, as a physical therapist, are you aware of the effect of an increased lordosis on an individual over a period of time? Am I aware of the effects? Yes, I am. And is that something that makes those effects recognized within the field of physical therapy? From an assessment perspective, yes. And what are the potential effects on a person's back for an increased lordosis? With a lumbar lordosis, it causes an increased force on that area of your spine, so when you have an increased curvature, it's just increasing the force of that area on your back. $175. How's that?
That's pretty good.
Good.
Should I read?
Yeah.